Alright, from low to high, we have an 8, an 8.7, an 8.9, a 9.1, and a 9.7. Damn the scores, give it up for the poets. And that concludes the second round of our Poetry Slam. We are going straight into our feature. So let me tell you a little bit about Sam Rush. Sam likes looking at birds. Sam is a big fan of the YMCA. Houstonians should be too. YMCA took a lot of people in during Harvey. Give it up for the YMCA. Sam lost one of their hearing aids at a club the other night, so you may have to speak loudly when you go to purchase their merch. And Sam is a 2016 National Poetry Slam finalist, all the way from Massachusetts, Houston. This is magical. There are no other places or poetry events in the world where it is damn near freezing and people are sitting out here to watch poetry. So here for poetry, you have a feature here all the way from Massachusetts. Make some noise for Sam Rush!
Thank you so much for being here. It's cold as fuck. I'm wearing twice as many pants as I usually wear. 100% more pants than usual. Thank you so much for having me. This is one of my favorite venues in the country. I'm just gonna say a bunch of poems, and you know, I never time myself when I do this. I just did it. All right, cool. Thanks so much for having me. We'll talk more. So Semitic languages conjugate based on both tense and gender, which means that the word changes based on the way the world sees the mouth that speaks it. The masculine conjugation of I want is ani rotse. The feminine conjugation of I want is ani rotsa. And if you look closely enough, you can see the way the want changes. In kindergarten, I took a new name each week. Call me David after my uncle. Call me Thomas after my best friend. Call me Kenneth after my father. Call me after the others. Call me after the boys, but before the girls. At least call me after. Wow. Like, why not just call me after? Call me anything other than this word girl. Call me anything other than this word, this world stuck to the back of me like a kick me sign. Like a for sale sign. Like a sign reading under new ownership. See, I was born into a body that is a word in a language that was put in my mouth. And the word meant yours. And I called myself yours. This body, say yours. Say girl body, say yours. The feminine conjugation of my body in this world is yours. Wow. I was born into a body and told it was on loan to me. I was charged with its keeping. I was charged with keeping it safe like you're safe. Charged with keeping it pretty like you're pretty. Charged with keeping it girl like you're girl. Say girl, girl, say girl, say yours. Doesn't it mean the same thing anyway? This body a plastic cup and me a hot liquid. This body a fishing line and me a twisted tide. This body called out, called risk, called priss, called should've been boy anyway if you're gonna look at me with all that. Not sorry, this body, fire renamed as ash to keep itself from burning. This body, mountain as seen from a distance and held up beside a man's thumb. It doesn't look so small. This body of water that you renamed weak for the way it moves, for the way it changes, for the way it parts at your feet. Well, wait now, for the way this body that washed me away, that taught me to pry each letter of your language from between my teeth, each piece of casual, swallowed misogyny. See, I wasn't born into the wrong body. I was born into the right lesson. I'm taking back what's yours and giving it a new name, so watch me as I call this body mine. Alright, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Wow, you're so beautiful. You're so cold. I'm so cold. I'm wearing twice as many pants. I'm wearing 7 times as many shirts as I usually wear. I'm wearing at least 85 shirts right now. I have 2 jackets. Hold on, look. Hey! Jackets on jackets on jackets. And I'm from Boston, or I live in Boston. Cool. Okay. As you might have deduced from that last poem, so I'm queer. I'm a queer person. Cool. So this is like a queer poem. This is a weird poem. I think we can do it. Y'all are weird. I heard you up here. This is it's like a, okay, so here's the deal. So my cock wrote a poem. Yeah, my cock wrote a poem. And it was like, read that poem, and I was like, shut up. It was like, no, read it. And I was like, okay, you're being kind of aggressive. And I was like, I'm sorry, and we had a good discussion. We're cool, it's cool. But I'm gonna read the poem. Okay, so this is like a cover poem of my cock's poem. Okay, so yeah, so my cock wrote a poem, and it's called Self-Portrait in Charcoal on Smoke. No, I don't know what the fuck that means. I think it's a metaphor for something. Yeah, I don't know, my cock is really deep. It's like, kind of obtuse. It's like really hard to understand, which is why my cock came here dressed as a pussy, obviously. My cock likes other cocks. It likes to get high and pretend that they are mirrors. My cock likes other pussies, but it had to learn to stop waving through them like windows. Mostly my cock just likes to be the fuck alone because it knows that we're all made of glass and waiting to be broken, and only as dangerous as we are fragile. I don't know, I'm not so much like a femme most of the time, but I think my cock is. Like why else would it have chosen to wear this body to your party? There, in the great, grand dressing room of heaven, tried it on for the first time and said, this, oh my God, oh my God, this is it, this is it. I fucking love the tits. Oh, and my God sits in the corner on a chaise lounge smoking cigarettes rolled from pecans, says, kid, I mean, you look good. But like, do you really want to wear that all night? I mean, there's not even any place for you to sit. You're gonna make yourself a phantom limb. You're gonna make yourself a hole where the ocean used to lay, every wave away, a dried up riverbed. No, 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 I don't think so, my cock said. I'm gonna be something different. Something big. Like really big, like but like so big like it holds up the sky. Yeah. Hugs the mountains in its arms. Fits in the corner of your eye and every tiny fingertip space, but somehow asks for no place of its own to sit. I'm gonna be something like the mist. I'm gonna be something like the mist. Like the mist. Oh my God, that's it. I'm gonna be mist. Oh my God, I'm gonna be mist. Okay, kid. My God said, if that's the way you want it, I think you got this. You have my number, right? Come here. Give me a kiss before you go. Good luck, kid. Oh, and kid, you look hot in those tits. Thanks so much. Cool. Thanks for hanging out with me when my cock read a poem. That's weird. Yeah, thank you so much for being here in the cold. That slam was incredible. This is really one of my favorite venues in the country, and I'm so glad that you brought me back. So does anyone here like Harry Potter?
Yeah!
Do y'all know what houses you are?
Yes!
Okay. Everyone's like, yeah? Duh. Alright, do we have any Ravenclaws in the house? We got like one. Okay, cool. Do we have Gryffindor?
What?
Okay, we got some Gryffindors. I'm just save the day. Do we have any Slytherins?
Yeah! Fuck y'all!
Alright, cool. That's good. Slytherins get a bad rap. Slytherins are some useful people to have around. Do we have any Hufflepuffs? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Bless your heart.
So, does anyone, and then can you make some noise if you have no idea what the fuck we're talking about? Alright, cool. So, if I'm gonna read a poem that's about Harry Potter. If I have all of it. Yeah, okay. So, okay.
If you drive a red or gray car and you parked on Taft, you're about to get fucking towed. So if that's you, go get your car, and if not, here's the feature.
Go get your car. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Okay. Harry Potter, right? Harry Potter. Alright, I'm gonna do a quick rundown. If you don't know fuck about Harry Potter, it's like wizards, they're kids, they're in a house. Okay. They're wizards, they go to a school. When they get to the school, a hat sits on their head and tells them about themselves, which is not usually how you learn about yourself, by someone sitting on your head. I guess that's it. Yeah, that's all you need to know. Cool. Alright. So this is, first to introduce this is a poem about Hufflepuff. I'm going to read you from the Sorting Hat, what the Sorting Hat said about the different houses, alright? So this is the canon. For each of the 4 founders had a house in which they might take only those they wanted. So for instance, Slytherin took only pure blood wizards of great cunning just like him. And those of sharpest mind were taught by Ravenclaw, while the bravest and the boldest went to daring Gryffindor. Good Hufflepuff, she took the rest and taught them all she knew. Thus, the houses and their founders retained friendships firm and true. This is called Helga Hufflepuff Chooses the Furnishings. Leave open the door, she said, and build a table long. We want flowers in the gardens as well as vines. Some will freeze in the winter, but in the springtime, some will bloom. Build the hallways wide. Make sure there's somewhere soft and dim to hide when the shades of you feel too nothing special to warrant the bolts of regal scarlets, greens, and blues, but the curtains, make those bold and bright as the sun, that we may remember, even when the day is gone, that she will rise morning after morning after morning, and doesn't that make her nothing special too? On Tuesdays, we tend the garden and we watch how nothing special makes it bloom. There is a room to the right where we'll make tapestries of every piece of string we find left over, an easy chair to the left where no one will ask you where you've been or where you plan to go. There is a bathroom for anyone who's ever felt scared walking home at night alone. Fill this room with sofas wall to wall. Tell all who enter they are free to call it home. Come look, here is where you speak your name each day and no one cares how many times you change it. Here is a book of words we've never said aloud, and sometimes when the flowers bud, we swallow hard and say them. See here, we are not the brave, but surely once we have all been brave, and each day we wake and try to be again. Here, we are not the wise, but surely we have all been wise, and each day we wake and try to be again. Call this our great ambition. To rise another day and ask not what we are, but what we are about to do, for we are not the cruel here. But wake each day knowing malice and spite can root themselves beneath our soil as easily as anything loyal or kind. We are not the good or the bold, the wicked, nor the pure. When we win, we are not winners. When we lose, we are not lost. We are this day, and the way we choose to plant another. We are the rest. We are waiting here for you. A table set, a door open, and a garden that blooms for anyone who ever passed it by. Woo! Harry Potter concept, so nice. Okay, I have a set list.
This is the awkward part of the show where I'm supposed to interrupt the feature again. So Sam came here all the way from Massachusetts, okay? And we want Sam to be able to go home and come all the way back to Texas to visit us again. Woo! So we're gonna pass around a tip jar. I wanna show that I'm not a hippopotamus, so I'm gonna put some money into the jar. I'm gonna pass around. If you like what you've heard so far, feel free to throw in some tip money. And then Sam, do you have any merch for sale?
Yeah, I have a book. It's called Short Stories for the Lump in My Breast. It's choose your own adventure pricing. If you'd like one, just come and talk to me. Most people do $5 to $10, but if you want to have one and you don't have that, then we'll work it out.
You can't afford not to buy it!
Choose your own adventure pricing.
You can't afford not to buy it!
So I'm gonna get out of the way. Sam will have merch for sale after the show, and make some energy, make some noise. Here's the rest of the feature.
Alright, anyone ever had bed bugs? No. Everyone's like, no, not me. Does anyone have bed bugs now?
No.
Great, cool. Yeah, that's good. Neither do I, so you can totally come and say hi to the show. Cool. Alright, but I did once have bed bugs. It was awful. It sucked. So I freaked out and had like an existential crisis, and then I wrote a poem about it. Because I've learned to process my feelings. Cool. So this is called The Best Way to Treat Bed Bugs. And it's about the best way to treat bed bugs. Cool. So what I found was the best way to treat bed bugs is just to scream. Just until you die. The best way to treat bed bugs is to drive. You just drive really fast. They can't fly. If you run out of gas, you just scream until you die. The best way to treat bed bugs is diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth is a tiny ground down powder of sea creatures' dead body parts. It's like their skeletons. It's like spiky. It just latches onto the damn thing's backs and sucks the moisture right out of their bitey bed bug souls. See, the best way to kill bed bugs is to surround them with death until they die. The best way to treat bed bugs is existential deism. Just remember that we are all part of God's mouth, tooth, tongue, or asshole, and you are feeding the needed masses of the divine's body kingdom. Stop being so greedy with your blood. The best way is probably tea tree oil. Tea tree oil comes from Melaleuca trees. In 3rd grade, I watched Melaleuca trees suck dry the Everglades outside my classroom window. As my 38 classmates and I swish pink wax-tasting fluoride in our mouths, finally silent. I could almost hear the slurping up through Melaleuca roots, great grand blue herons choking thirst and dead falling from the sky. Melaleuca trees arrived in South Florida on the backs of European colonists who were looking for a stronger sucking tree to drain the swamp plaque and make way for the white stucco forts. And now the Grass River is anemic dry mouth, and the trees are just living their own damn lives, never once realized that they smell something like killing. The best way to treat bed bugs is to douse yourself in tea tree oil 3 times a day. This is also the best way to treat scabies. At least you don't have scabies. You will stink like minty, pungent, accidental, orchestrated destruction, or like hippie mouthwash. See, the best way to treat bed bugs is to stink like survival of the fittest, like reproduction of the fittest, like growth of the strongest, fittest one. Stop doing crunches on the floor. The best way to treat bed bugs is to grow the fuck up. Like clean your room. Look at the piles of filth, just posturing unconvincingly as genius. Like, look at me, I'm a poet. Just fucking flamboyant, asinine. Consider whether you have bed bugs or, based on empirical evidence and habitat assessment, the bed bugs, in fact, have humans. Think of all the squares whose tight assholes you've scoffed at as they designated clothes for bedwear only, and washed, and refused to place purse-faced purses on the ground. Let nothing touch the ground. The ground is constructed entirely of tiny sticky bedbug eggs, and you can't see them because they are your future, and you can't see the future. Stupid human. Human asshole. Stupid, tasty, human asshole. Tie your hair back, bag your clothes up, floss, wear sunscreen, buy a vacuum cleaner and a polo shirt, not used but new and built on the backs of a blue heron nation. Meditate on God or death or blood and levitate while you do. Let nothing touch the ground. Grow up. Get a real job. Clean your room. Remember, you are part of nature, and this is how nature changes itself. Thanks so much. Oh wow! All right. So your DJ, when I was here last time, made a song with one of my poems in it. It was super cool. And I was like, wow, this is the first time one of my poems has ever been in a song. And I was like, wow, that feels so cool. So I don't usually do that poem anymore, but maybe I'm gonna do it. I'll give a. This poem deals with suicide, so if you want to not be here for that, that's totally okay. And I respect your decision to take care of yourself. Cool. You tried to teach me beats in a parking lot after we tried to fuck in the back of your truck in a parking lot. And then you tried to teach me beats after we succeeded. After you handed me beers and lube like it was a dozen roses, and I swear it was a sweeter gift than a dozen roses. You said you'd looked up how to fuck a virgin in the nicest way. That your friend told you, if you're gonna be somebody's first, you gotta be good to them because then they'll never get over you. And somehow, coming from you, that was kind of sweet too. And then you tried to teach me beats. Like 2 on the left hand and on the right hand 3, but I could never quite syncopate the 2 sides of me enough to keep steady. So I just watched you drumming on the shores of a lake man-made and a dam made to impress aliens, and I know we both knew I would be. And I don't know what I said when you told me that you loved me, but I don't think it kept very good time. 5 years after my leaving, one after you ripped yourself from the skin of the world, I lay back on an overpass in Poughkeepsie and basked in the fact that sound waves never really disappear, they just get wider. Wondered why there were suddenly 2 beats in my hands separately now, as if you'd somehow ripped them apart when you left, holding 1, holding 2 beats on one and 3 on the other, like 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 months after your passing, I forgot what to call the streets. Couldn't know them as anything other than the ground that had lost hope of ever knowing the soles of your feet. I sat beneath them in a million broken lights, laying down beats for fireflies, losing time to make sure there were still fireflies and not simply the lit cigarettes of your ghosts. I told myself I was crazy 3 times. For every 2 I wished you were near me. Told myself there was nothing 3 times. For every 2 I wished you were here me. Told myself to be honest, to see what's real, and then forgot to know how, because in the months after you gave up on this life, I drowned in the streets I had forgotten not to call rivers. Told myself I was crazy 3 times. I was crazy 3 times. I told myself I was crazy 3 times. For every 2 times I wished I'd said I'd love you. 2 times I wished I said I'd love you. 2 times that I'd missed. Wish it could be different. Everybody's got a first love, right? Everybody's got a first time. And someday everybody learns that growing up is a heartbeat fading before you tap out the rhythm of its name. If you could hear me now. My friends, I think if I, 1 more poem or 2 more poems?
10 more. All of them.
Okay, I'm gonna do 2 more poems. I'm gonna sing you a song.
Yeah.
Woo! Poems are songs, right? Okay, so this is like a poem song. It has a little story with it. So once upon a time, I rode my bike for for a while. And through a bunch of tiny little towns in the United States. And I was with some friends. We were on the side of the street, sitting on the curb in this tiny little town. And we met this queer person. This was maybe 10 years ago. Queer person, small town, 10 years ago, all right? So we were talking to them, and they were talking to us about what it was like to grow up in this tiny little town, and how it kind of sucked. And we were like, well, did you ever think of going somewhere else, moving to the city? And they said, well, you know, it's like they shout when I'm walking, but at least they know it's me. So I thought about that and rode my bike a bunch more. And when I got home, I wrote a song about it. The song's called West Virginia, and there's a line in it that says, West Virginia said to me, they shout when I'm walking here, but at least they know it's me. And I thought, wow, man, because that's pretty important, man. So I played it for my friend who was on that trip with me. West Virginia, okay, well, this is my song, West Virginia. Do you remember that time and that person? Oh my God, that was amazing. All right, cool, I played my song, and my friend was like, cool, great song, oh my God, wow, I totally remember that. That was Delaware. I was like, damn it. But this song's called West Virginia. It was like, I don't know, sorry. Cool. Here it goes. Well, the town gets shitty 'cause the good kids go, and you can't get better if you don't get old. Oh, West Virginia said to me, there's so many places that I may never see. West Virginia said to me, they shout when I'm walking here, but at least they know it's me. West Virginia said to me, and the highway's 30, but the highway's by, and you can't get sober if you don't get high. Oh, Santa Ana said to me, there's so many mountains that I may never see. Santa Ana said to me, you're right with your walking kid, but a way's the way to be. Santa Ana said to me, and the highway's 30, but the highway's 1, and you're not yet further, if you're not yet gone. Oh, California said to me, there's all that you wanted here, but it's all you'll ever see. California said to me, you're more than you think you are, but it's all you'll ever be. California said to me, Santa Ana set me free. West Virginia set me free. She set me free. She set me free. Thanks. Thank you so much. This is my... Please come talk to me. I lost one of my hearing aids while I was having a great time at the club and being irresponsible with the things that allow me to connect with the world. So if you want to come talk to me, I might just shove my left ear in your face or say nonsense back to you that has nothing to do with what you just said. Yeah. But well, it'll be great. We'll make it work. Cool. Okay. Thank you so much for having me. I would love to meet you all. I hope to come back again. Enjoy this incredible space. Oh, hey, also thank you so much to everyone who makes this space happen. This is so special. This is such a special place. It's not happening everywhere, and it's happening here, and I'm really grateful for it. So, thanks so much. And everyone who's making this happen. Cool. All right. This is my last poem. This one also has this one is also dealing with suicide, so yeah, if you want to take care of yourself, that's cool. So two rounded archways built next to each other will form an empty V-shaped space between them. In classic architecture, they're often carved or painted into stories of angels or spirits. This space is called a spandrel. Evolutionary biologists borrow the term spandrel to describe a trait that has no adaptive value but is instead the unintended byproduct of selection for another adaptive trait. So nipples on people who can't lactate, spandrel. Blood is red, spandrel. The human tailbone, a spandrel. Anthropologist James Atran posits that humans' belief in the supernatural results from selection for a trait called agent detection, which is our ability to create stories to explain the happenings around us. Think the sky is hunting you 1,000 times and you will live, but think the lion is not once and you may perish. Atran posits that the human belief in God is nothing more than the result of evolution and an accident. A spandrel. Spandrel. Once a man held me like a question mark, and for the first time, I wished there could be two objects with no space between them. Spandrel. My father taught me grief is like a hole inside of you. Mourning is not how we fill the hole, it is simply how we learn to live around it. Spandrel. When I was 15, God or something like it plucked a hole in me and my hearing began to drip out slowly, leaving an empty space. The space filled with a piercing ring that aches and wakes me in the night. Spandrel. I learned to love from boys with waking boom boxes held above their heads and pillars of salt. The story goes, love is love if it turns the object's name into a seraphim, their voice into a prayer. Spandrel. Sometimes I hear voices in the ringing. Sometimes I hear the voice of God. Sometimes I hear the voice of the man who held me like a question mark. Sometimes I can't tell the difference. Spandrel. The thing about love and death is that they both turn humans into gods without asking. Spandrel. Sometimes I hear voices in the ringing. Sometimes I hear the creak of the rope in a quarry outside Cincinnati. I do not know the shape of it. I imagine a gaping empty space. Spandrel. I do not wish to make this man a god. I do not wish to erase the callous in his voice or the careless moments of greed. I do not wish to write him into my own mythology, to fill an empty space. The spandrels at San Marco are carved into intricate portraits of angels. Onlookers crane their necks to gaze upon them and upwards towards heaven and forget the ground. Spandrel. Once I fell in love the way the story goes and forgot my own name. The story goes you will be loved into a hole. The story goes you are born with a hole inside of you, the shape of your lover's arm or ear or crooked neck. The story goes you will look upon your lover and seek heaven in their eyes. Spandrel. I do not wish to forget your eyes for heaven. I do not wish for a love that cranes my neck upwards and away from this earth. Spandrel. Sometimes I try to hold myself at night like a question mark, but I can't coax my body into arching because it's harder for me to imagine a story that ends in a trans body coming than it is for me to imagine a story that ends in a trans body coming back from the dead. Spandrel. I'm afraid to be loved like a symbol. Spandrel. I'm afraid to be loved like a myth, like a monolith, like a mystery. I'm afraid of a love that will turn me to false god only to prove me fallacy. Spandrel. There are voices in the ringing. In the silence, there is a song. And I know he is not waiting for me out there in the empty air, but I swear to God, I hear something. Thank you so much.
Sam has merch for sale. Make sure to talk to Sam afterwards. But before that, we had a poetry slam this evening. Are you ready to find out who are our winners?